The deep freeze continued for another day today, but a warm-up is on the way. We tell you what you can expect. Plus, the State Department of Education has made a key decision concerning this week's snow days. We bring you that, and part 2 of Mark Messmer's interview with host Bill Potter on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin tonight with day 2 of the deep freeze across our WJTS viewing area, and it had an impact all across the state. Governor Mike Pence was urging Hoosiers not to travel yesterday, warning that they faced real peril if they became stranded along snow-covered roads amid temperatures that were forecast to be 15 degrees below zero this morning in some places. The Arctic blast has brought Indiana its coldest readings since a record cold wave back in January of 1994. More than half of Indiana's counties were under travel warnings, meaning that only emergency workers are supposed to be on the roads. In our area, Davies, Orange, Pike, and Perry counties were under at least a travel advisory, with Davies and Pike counties under a travel watch. Turning to the local freeze, the mercury at the WJTS studios early this morning was measured at 3 below zero. According to multiple weather forecasts, today was set to be much warmer than yesterday, with highs reaching up near 20 degrees. Evening lows this evening are also set to be roughly 15 degrees warmer than what they were last night. In spite of the warm-up in temperatures over the next several days, Du Bois County Emergency Management Director Tammy Miller says people still need to be vigilant.
People need to keep in mind that it's really gonna feel a lot warmer than it actually is, just because we've been in these negative temperatures. So people still need to, bundle up and use extra time and precautions when they are outside. Give their car more time to warm up. All those things, because it is going to feel like it is a little bit warmer, just because we've been in negative 24 and negative 30-degree weather.
The cold weather also had an impact on state government as it delayed the start of this year's legislative session. The Indiana House and the Senate were set to open the 2014 legislative session this afternoon after canceling yesterday's opening day due to the snow and Arctic temperatures. Because the start of the legislature was postponed a day, the bill filing deadline has been extended by a day until Monday of next week. The session is scheduled to end on March 15th. Now, Indiana's appellate judges, including the Supreme Court justices, were also scheduled to be back at work today, but not until 1 p.m. The courts are set to return to normal hours tomorrow. Pence ordered that government offices that were closed yesterday to reopen at 10 o'clock this morning. Essential personnel were told to report to work at their regularly scheduled times. In related news this evening, local students won't have to make up the recent snow days following a decision by State Superintendent of Public Instruction Glenda Raths. Officials with the Indiana Department of Education announced yesterday that Raths has decided to allow schools across the state to apply for a waiver for yesterday's missed day. Additionally, since all Du Bois and surrounding county schools, among others across the state, were closed today, the waiver will extend to today's missed day as well. That waiver was thought up by Raths in order to avoid further lengthening the school year, among other issues. Now, several local school districts have already had concerns about snow days in light of not only this storm, but the first major winter storm of the season back in December. The Greater Jasper Consolidated School District was forced to use 3 of its snow days during that storm. School officials there decided during last month's school board meeting to have students come back from their recent winter break last Thursday, January 2nd, rather than Friday, January 3rd, in their attempt to save the snow makeup days. Greater Jasper Superintendent Dr. Tracy Lorai says the district is in a wait-and-see mode as far as whether they will utilize the waiver or not.
The waiver process has always been in place and has been a possibility for schools to try to have days that they have lost waived. Our goal is that we will provide our students with 180 days of instructional time. And so our stance is that we will make up days that we have lost as long as we have snow makeup days left in our calendar. And then at the point in which we run out of those days, we will then seek the waiver for these 2 days.
Earlier today, Lori released an updated list of days that school will be in session for the days that were missed. They included last Thursday, and upcoming dates will be Monday, January 20th, Monday, February 17th, Friday, March 21st, and Monday, March the 31st. Lori says with the 2 large snows this year, the remaining snow makeup days are running short for the district.
Well, we did have days built in to cover what we would feel is a substantial number of snow days. However, with the large snow before Christmas and then this event, we have used 5 snow days. We have 1 more left in our calendar, and that is even with adding an additional day on January the 2nd. So we have a lot of winter to go yet. We certainly recognize the fact that we could be faced with losing additional school days as weather is a factor.
Among other local schools, the Southwest DuBois School Corporation used all 3 of its allotted snow days for this school year at last month's storm. Meanwhile, the Northeast and Southeast DuBois School Corporations also used 3 snow days during last month's storm. In other news, deputies with the DuBois County Sheriff's Department were kept busy with a pair of accidents that took place within an hour of each other on the county's north side late yesterday afternoon. First, an Orange County man was slightly injured in a 1-vehicle accident near the DuBois Crossroads. The DuBois County Sheriff's Department says just before 5 p.m., 19-year-old Zachary Andrea of French Lick was eastbound on State Road 56 about 1.5 miles east of the crossroads when he lost control of his SUV on the ice-covered highway. Deputies who responded with an Indiana conservation officer say his vehicle went off of the right side of the roadway and it struck a telephone pole before coming to a rest. Police say Andrew, who had to be extricated from his SUV, suffered a leg injury after being pinned in the vehicle. He was removed from his SUV by members of the DuBois Fire Department and taken to Memorial Hospital by EMS for treatment. His vehicle was a total loss, and the pole sustained about $2,500 in damage. Then, about 45 minutes later, deputies responded to a report of a crash on Portersville Road west of County Road 660 West, where a pair of Jasper teens were slightly injured. The DuBois County Sheriff's Department says 18-year-old Paul Bingle of Jasper was driving his mid-sized pickup on Portersville Road west at a high rate of speed and lost control on the icy roadway. Authorities say his vehicle went off the road to the right, down a large embankment, and overturned. Bingle suffered some small cuts to his hands and refused treatment. A passenger, 17-year-old Nicholas Borden of Jasper, also suffered a small cut to his hand and refused treatment. That vehicle was also a total loss. No word yet on whether any charges will be filed in either accident. Finally this evening, a local city has partnered with a county organization to award grants to local charities. The Huntingburg Mayor's Office and the DuBois County Community Foundation announced yesterday that they have teamed up to award grants through the 2013 Huntingburg Assistance Fund. The fund was set up more than 20 years ago in order to give local charities grants so that they can provide need-based services for folks in the community. TriCap, Shared Abundance Christian Ministries, Generations, A Kid's Place, and Teen Outback were named as this year's grant recipients. DuBois County Community Foundation CEO Brad Ward says $7,600 of support was available through local residents and businesses. He says an additional $3,200 was donated to the Huntingburg Assistance Fund endowment to keep the grant program going for the future. Now, Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner says this year's recipients have a strong reputation for giving need-based services in the community. He says the grants will allow for the organizations to continue to provide dependable services for residents. Coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and part 2 of Inform with District 63 State Representative Mark Messmer. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.